What's up, guys? We are back with another Cosmic Legions Book 1 Hvalkatar review, and we're taking a look at one of two space bugs in this wave. We're taking a look at the SPHEXXIAN Prison Guard. So we've got a block commander, and then we've got the Prison Guard, and I have been very curious about these guys since we were first shown them. Space bugs just sounds cool, but seeing this guy in person, the paint on this thing is just freaking wild. So I'm really excited to dig into this one. And now he comes in the sort of mid-size packaging for the line because he's a slightly larger figure. Now you've got him there in the window. You've got the hologram look down there on the bottom with the Cosmic logo. One spine gives you his faction as well as his bio for what these guys are. The other spine will give you a write-up for this wave, and then the back of the box will give us a cross-sell for everything in Book 1. So let's do it. Let's pull them out and take a look. And here we go. Out of the package are SPHEXXIAN Prison Guard, the other SPHEXXIAN in Wave 1, and dare I say, the cooler of the two, mostly because, well, it's all personal preference stuff. I like the head and the paint job on this one more than the other one. That's pretty much all it is. They're overwhelmingly the same figure. So let's see what this guy can do, see how he moves around. We've got a head that is on a ball peg that juts forward, so the head can swivel up and down, or bob up and down, really. What I really like about this, though, is the range of motion on this neck. So you can sort of shimmy that head to the side really, really well. There's a lot of range side to side, which makes up for some of the limited mobility here. You do have full rotation, but, it's one of those where you rotate it too far, it looks kind of, cattywampus there. The arms go out at the shoulder about that far. It's not too bad, but it's not great either, right? It does have some limitations, and it's because of the backpack. It goes over top of the shoulder, so it's only going to go so far. You can swivel, of course, and you can see that I'm kind of, playing this careful because of these arms. You've just got to watch them. You've got your elbow, about 90. You've got swivel, you've got rotation at the gauntlet, rotation at the wrist, and you've got some hinge. These are lateral hinges. There's a bunch of hands with this guy with different styles of hinges. What makes this guy cool is what also kind of makes this guy kind of frustrating, though, because you've got all kinds of stuff on him. So he's got the little baby arms. They are hinged at the joint at the torso with rotation. There is an elbow with rotation, and this little claw piece right here, it may not feel like it's going to move, but it also swivels, it rotates. I'm going to urge heat when you do anything when it comes to moving these arms or putting them in for the first time, for sure. I definitely needed heat when I put them in. They were never going to go in otherwise for me, and that was across two different figures, so I know for sure it wasn't just a one-off. The torso does have some swivel, and that's pretty much it. This is the same torso as the deluxe Oleg Thygar, and it really doesn't do much more than just swivel. There's nothing else. There's not a whole lot of clearance for it otherwise. Legs go out. They go out like way, way far. There's nothing in the way on the hips with these figures. Kick forward. They kick backward. You got your thigh twist. You've got single jointed knees, of course. That's normal stuff for Legions. Single jointed about 90-ish. And then you've got a little swivel up there. We've got swivel at the top of the ankle. You've got your rocker. And you've got hinges down there as well. So, it's a 1.0 figure. You kind of know what to expect with this guy. There's nothing too crazy about it. What is, different about it continues to be what makes it so cool, though, because it also has wings. And these wings peg into the back, and they have a hinge so they can flap in and out, and they can swivel. You're going to need to heat those peg holes up for sure. Well, I say for sure. There's a very good chance you're going to have to. I needed to across all of my bug guys. You're probably going to need to do the same. And then I'm going to also urge to not try to separate these. These wings do not pop apart. Like, it's not two different wings. It's one solid piece. So if you somehow manage to separate that, you have inadvertently broken your wing. So, watch out for that. But there is a little bit of mobility. I kind of figure that I'm just going to keep them down at all times because while cool, it is going to be hard to display a bunch of these guys with their wings out, at least, if you don't have infinite space, which no one does. But this is a really cool moving figure. It has some nice articulation to it. I really, really do like the arms and the wings and what makes this thing very, very different. It's unique across Legions right now with having all this extra stuff kind of, shoved into it. It can be a little frustrating. Those arms are a little bit of they're an annoyance for me personally, no matter what at this point. I find them to be just in the way most of the time, but they also are really cool. They can hold weapons, like they can hold his staff, which I think is just awesome. So it's kind of a give and a take. It outweighs itself, basically. Some of the annoyance is outweighed by how cool some of this extra stuff happens to be. Now, where this guy truly shines, though, is the visuals, and it's literally from every direction. The sculpt, the idea, and the paint. And I can't stress enough, the paint on this figure is nuts. And I'm not so sure I'm going to be able to demonstrate it very well. I'm going to do my best to demonstrate it, but it's like a color shifting paint. So the Block Commander also has that to a degree. He has it on the orange body, or the orangey red armor itself. It kind of shifts to a gold. The Prison Guard has it on the inlay detail, and it's very, very insectoid. So it shifts from this blue to a purple. And I mean, it's just nuts. Like, this thing is so wild. When I got it out of the box for the first time, all I did was just sort of move it around just to watch this color, like, you know, like a little kid. It's nuts. It's so unlike anything else that you're going to have on your Legion shelf for sure. But then in general, like, you don't see paint like this on a figure, not to mention the fact that the paint overall is just out of this world, no pun intended. It's so ridiculous. The color is so bright and vibrant and saturated, and the metallic is pretty much unmatched. This thing will absolutely light up when he gets under the right lighting conditions. And I mean, I can't say enough good things about the paint job on this figure. This is easily the best painted figure in Legions for me right now. I think it's amazing from top to bottom. And this inlay detail all over, how it shifts, how it catches the light, I'm probably not going to stop yapping about it until this video is done, but it's so cool. And the figure itself, I mean, it's the same as the Block Commander, outside of the head, and we'll get to that. It's just as cool. I really love the Block Commander look. I love the idea behind this figure. It's a ton of reuse. You know, don't get me wrong. This is a lot of reuse. It's mostly the deluxe Oleg Thygar, arms, torso, legs, but there's other stuff here as well. He's got the little emblem. You know, the figures have these removable emblems. He has extra arms there. You've also got the baby arms. You've got, you know, these crazy bug, almost crustacean-looking claw hands. You've got like I should have looked this up, the thorax, whatever the back of a bug is. So you've got this with like a stinger on the end here, tons of detail. This thing is pegged into the butt. It doesn't really do a whole lot, but it does look really good, and it adds more bulk and heft to this figure, because that's one thing that they did really well, was adding stuff to an existing base body in many ways to make it seem bigger. You get that extra bug piece on the butt, makes him deeper. And then you get this set of wings. You get the backpack, which again is a different backpack from all the other figures. This isn't the same that you're going to find on the Tusk bodies, for example. This is unique. It's also got bug parts sticking out of it. That, of course, does mean that it is removable too. So if you want to swap this color of armor onto something else, you can easily do it. You just have to pop that off. You might need a little heat for it. And then, of course, you know, watch when you're taking those wings out as well. The wings are also really cool, too. They have like a stained glass effect on them. They're super translucent, but they have like this mottled look to them. So they have texture all over it. And then they've got like the veins. You've got like spines and spikes coming out of them. The only real negative that I've got about the wings is that I do find it kind of difficult at times to get them in, and I'm kind of worried that I'm going to snap the peg, because it is a really small peg. It's very thin, and it's not deep. So you do have to watch it, you know, just be careful. If you're familiar with Legions at this point, you know to be careful when popping anything into anything else. Just take your time and use some heat, but they do look tremendous. And again, they add a lot of bulk, and they make these guys look super menacing, which, you know, especially for this race that isn't necessarily all bad guys, it makes this guy look super evil in conjunction with this head sculpt. And again, like I said, this is one of the key differences between the Block Commander, because the Block Commander has an unhelmeted head. I really wish both figures had both versions, because you can swap that head onto this body. You can't really swap this head onto the other one because of the color difference. But this is easily my favorite of the two. You do have to put a bunch of stuff together. Assembly required is a tagline for this guy for sure. You got to put the wings on, you've got to put the arms on, you've got to put the antenna and the mandibles on too. So there's a lot of building with this guy, but he is so cool, and I love this very techy bug head sculpt. It's just wild. I'm so happy with it. It's got more of that color shifting paint on it. The mandibles are super glossy. They've almost got like a wet look to them. And then more of those, you know, antenna up there add a little bulk and make him a little taller and just make him seem bulkier in a different way. There's so much about this figure that is just unique to this, while also sharing a lot of parts, including the crotch piece. He's got a big old crotch down here with a different belt on it, and all sorts of stuff to make him seem different. And this is part of the reason why the legs are so unencumbered as well. So there's just a lot of cool stuff about this guy. Mostly it's the color, it's the paint, it's the way that color shifts and bends and changes, but the whole figure just looks awesome from top to bottom. Now for size comparisons, let's start with some other Legions. So we've got some Tusk figures here from Cosmic Wave 1. We've got the Tusk Science Officer here on the right for a 1.0 figure, and the Tusk Engineer here on the left for a 2.0. And let's move these guys aside and we'll go through some other lines. So here is a Mezco. There's Conan. And then let's do a NECA Turtle. There's Leo. And let's pull Conan aside, and here is a Marvel Legend. There's the Banshee figure from Hasbro, of course. And let's do one more. Let's do a Figuarts. Here is Superhero Piccolo. So these guys are, of course, built on the 1.0 framework. They use a lot of parts that we see throughout Cosmic Wave 1, but because of their, different proportions, they've got the bigger backpack, they've got the antenna, they've got wings, they've got this big head and neck situation. They are going to seem a lot bigger than they actually are, and they do have a little bit of added bulk compared to your normal average 1.0 mythic or cosmic figure. Now, as far as accessories goes, this guy has essentially the exact same loadout as this SPHEXXIAN block commander. They just have different colorways in terms of their accessories, and the name of the game with these figures, because they are deluxe again, is hands. So in the box, you get these sort of style posy, almost relaxed kind of hands on them, and then you get 4 extra sets of gripping hands that vary in terms of hinge position. So you get 2 sets of trigger finger hands. That's 4 hands right there with vertical and lateral hinges, and you get 2 sets rather of standard gripping hands for holding something like this. And these again, 4 hands with the lateral and the vertical hinges. So you get 5 total sets of hands out of this figure, not including the little grabber arms here that can also hold this staff just fine. And this staff is, of course, one of the weapons. So you've got, just sort of like a sentry type of staff here. It does look like it's some sort of like electro type staff because of the coils on the inside. And this is the same thing that comes with the block commander. It's just a different colorway. It's got this sort of purpley magenta hue to it and some dry brushing up top, whereas the block commanders is like a gold color. And then we get their very signature looking gun, because again, this looks like something that would belong with like a bug race. It looks kind of organic in many ways. And the SPHEXXIAN Prison Guard gets the bone color with red accents. The block commanders is like a purpley red color. So same stuff, just different colorways. And then of course, the one thing that I wish was different about these figures when it comes to the SPHEXXIANs is that I wish both figures came with the same sets of heads. The block commander comes with the unhelmeted, the guard comes with the helmeted, and you can swap the unhelmeted onto this one obviously because it has no coloration that's going to distinguish it, but I can't really put this on the block commander figure, so I kind of wish that was the one thing that was different. But these guys do come with a really solid array of accessories, not to mention the fact all of the other stuff that makes them up, because there is a lot of stuff in this box. You've got the wings, you've got the antenna, the mandibles, the little arms. There's a whole lot of stuff that you have to put on, assembly required when it comes to this figure, but it does come with some really solid normal accessories as well. So yeah, overall, this guy's a winner. I mean, obviously, right? He's a winner, and I'm not going to stop talking about it. The paint is so good. That's the big thing with this guy. The paint is unreal. It's nuts. It's just so wild what they were able to do and make this work and make this guy look, very phosphorescent almost in some ways, like an actual bug. That's really what it is. He looks like a bug in figure form, and I'm so happy with the finished product here. The parts combinations, the stuff that's unique to this particular, SPHEXXIAN body type, the stuff that's unique to this one compared to the block commander. There's a lot of cool stuff here. The color, the paint, the sculpt, the size, the heft, how this guy feels in hand, it's all really good. Comes with a lot of solid accessories. My only real gripe is that, the stuff that you do have to sort of bolt on can make him a little cumbersome, but I've worked around it at this point. It's still kind of annoying. And then, of course, I wish he had an unhelmeted head that I didn't have to borrow from the block commander. Otherwise, just a stellar figure. So that's going to do it for this look at the Cosmic Legion's SPHEXXIAN Prison Guard. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.